Tonight we're going to have, or this afternoon we're going to have a little bit of a closer look at one of my sort of favourite vintage radios. It's the Astor World Range Transistor 9, also known as the Astor P2A. This radio was made in Melbourne, Australia, and probably around about 1960, maybe 61 possibly. It was top of the range in its day. Would have been a very expensive transistor radio, probably out of the range of a lot of the average people, and it is one of the transistors known as the Flying Doctor series, primarily because if we're looking closer here, you'll see on the lift up lid there's a frequency listing for the Flying Doctor radio service. Plus there's other listings there for various other frequencies of the time. Just a quick overview of it. Down here you have wave chain switch, broadcast shortwave 1, 2 and 3. That little button that's just above it there is actually the dial light. Over this side you have an on-off volume. The middle one is a tone, and the one on the end is the tuning control. Now looking at the dial, you can see a tuning meter there, and the dial covers primarily the broadcast band and shortwave from 1.6 megahertz up to 18.2 megahertz in 3 bands. The case is a vinyl case, which was fairly common of the era, and it's a very large antenna. I can try and turn this radio around without pushing it over with one hand, and we'll just have a quick squeeze in the back. This is the aerial, external aerial and external earth control. Now of course I was hoping to get this off. There it goes. We'll just take the back of it off, and you can see there, very large ferrite rod antenna. This is 9 transistors, and you can see there that I've put together a battery pack because the batteries that we use in this series of transistors are virtually no longer available. Now, of course, it has germanium transistors in it, and some of them are fairly hard to come by nowadays. The series of transistors I don't have in front of me, but just to let you know that the batteries, you could use a type 276P or a Novell type 306S or equivalent. So there we go, we've got a number of, you probably see the transistors in there, typical of the germanium series of transistors. This has had a few of the caps changed in it, and the radio is going, although there's still a bit of a hiss in the audio, which I suspect is the possibly a noisy resistor in the preamp stage of it, which I'll get around to have a look at some stage. Alright, I'll just cover that down there. You can see a very handy carry handle on the top of the radio, which I should have used before to turn the radio around. But there we go. This was as I said, a fairly hard, well, it's actually a hard to come by radio in Australia. I only know of probably 3 other examples, but no doubt there's more, of course, in various collections. But as I said, they were very expensive. So there we go. There is an overview of the transistor, the Astor World Range Transistor 9, also known as the Astor P2A. Hope you've enjoyed. Cheers.